Alright, so welcome to the Wednesday drawing class. This particular setup is for the folks that are doing a two-point perspective room. And so I've got this two-point perspective room. I went ahead. Now I had to make this bigger. So my vanishing points unfortunately are off the page. And because of that, you'll see some extra lines. These extra lines are called diminishment lines. And diminishment guidelines just help you when you have, again, something way outside your piece of paper. Now, if I had a big drafting table, I could have taped on a couple of sheets of paper on either side, a couple of sheets on either side of this, little flaps, and we could have gone ahead and marked exactly where the vanishing points were. Instead, I decided to do diminishment guides, and that's where you take this line from here all the way to the station point, you divide it in half, and then in quarters, whatever the length of that line is. And then you can take a line anywhere. I could take a line anywhere that's straight, and you divide that in half and quarters, and then you just match the quarter points up going off the page to that distant vanishing point. So this right here, and this right here is a diminishment guide. This is the quarter point, and this is the quarter point here, and it's going now off to a far distant left vanishing point. And then this same thing, the quarter mark here, and then the quarter mark on this little line. Now it's probably hard to see because I made them light, but that's going to my right vanishing point. So I've got 4 lines, and then same thing with these. These going down, those are diminishment guides. Going down, diminishment guides. You basically, again, you divide from the horizon line to where it intersects this. There's a little angle going down to your station point at true 90. Where this line hits that little angle going down to your station point, that's your distance. I'll move this up. So that's your distance from the horizon line to where it hits down here on on that line going out to your vanishing point. You divide this in half, and then you divide this in half again, so you get quarter and half mark. And then you do the same thing. Let me move this up, see if we can get the station point in here, the horizon line. So we take from the horizon line down to the station point, you divide it in half, and you divide it in half again, and in half again, and you get quarter point, half point, quarter point. And then you match this quarter point with that point, and you just keep the line going out. You then match this halfway point with the halfway point on this line. You keep it going out, and that's how you make diminishment guides. So I'm doing I've got a much harder challenge with this than you guys do, and I had to change a little bit because I was trying to make it bigger. So I've got my increment is 1 inch equals a foot. I've got like a 2.5 foot high eye line. That's fine. It's just this room is going to be seen by a toddler, a 2-year-old. And I decided to go ahead and make my corner right here instead of right, on the center of vision. We still have our center vision. On our center vision, we have the measurements: 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, this is just touching the picture plane. We have, again, feet going this way, it'll touch the picture plane, all that good stuff. I've got my left measuring point and my right measuring point, and basically I did a little bit of, I did some fun stuff to go ahead and get that going on. It was all kinds of fun, let me tell you, to do that. But anyway, so if you've got a distant measuring point, I basically went outside here and I marked the point, and then I just measured the same distance from the station point to there. Outside, I measured from the station point down here to the vanishing point over there, and then I brought the same measurement onto here. So that's how I did it. There's other ways you can do it, but that's going to be the easiest for us. And I've always felt that the easiest is the best. Easiest way is the best way. All that good stuff. So alright, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and this is going to be we're going to do a 12 foot by 15 foot room. I position this so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 feet this way. Now this is on this line going to the left vanishing point. So remember, these marks are just for measuring. So I've got my left measuring point over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and let me flip this up so I actually see it. Go from the left measuring point from 11 feet, but remember we got one foot over here, so that 11 is actually 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because it's 12 from this point. So we're going to go ahead and go, now it's going to give me 12 feet. We're going to line that up with the left measuring point. Line that up with the 11 feet over here. And we're going to take this. Let's see if I got a pencil that's a little bit sharper. Use an HP pencil. Take this from the 11 all the way over here. Again, it's lined up with my 12 feet, which is at the 11-foot mark because it's 1 foot over here. And it's lined up with the left measuring point because this is on that left measuring line. So I'm going to bring this up until it hits that line. And this right here is now 12 feet back in space. Pretty cool stuff. And now what we could do is I'm going to say, all right, well, let's go ahead and mark. I'm going to have to do, so I've got some challenges for myself. Part of the challenges I'm going to have is that, you know, I don't have 15 feet on here. To do that, I'd either have to, again, get a piece of paper and measure off 5 more on the ground line, 5 more feet, or 5 more inches, inch equals 1 foot. And then, you know, do that. Or I can do this. I'm going to have to do the heavier lifting. I'm going to do the harder part. And we're going to see, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't even have 10 feet. So here's what we'll do. I'll do a 5-foot mark. And so and it's on the right line going to the right vanishing point. So I'm going to take this 5-foot mark and go ahead and take it to the right measuring point till it strikes that line going to the right vanishing point. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. So this is now, again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 4. That's right, because we start at the 1 foot mark. That's what I get for not counting. I gotta be careful because this is just feet on either side of the center vision. I just said, oh, 5, there we go. Nope, that was wrong. So thank goodness we caught that. You're gonna go to the right measuring point, 5 feet from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is at the 6. Again, this can get a little confusing, so we don't want to. Okay, so this is 5 feet on this line going back in space in perspective. Now here's what I can do. So again, that's my point, but I need 15 feet going this way. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the Xing and doubling method. So I can take this right here. And I can pretend like this is a vertical plane and that this is 5 feet back in space. So what we would do from that point is we go, okay, well, here's the corner. Take this line straight up. I don't need to do all the way, I don't need to go above the horizon line, but I can take this, mark this in half, right? So we can go ahead and go, all right, well, let's corner to corner. We're going to do doubling. So Xing and doubling, which is a great way to make this the same distance back in space. So we'll go ahead and do this. You guys don't have to do this, thank goodness. I remember you guys set this up in class. Ginny and Trinity, who's taken the class. But this is for anybody. I can, you know, if I had enough room and had laid this out properly, wouldn't have to do this extra step. But this is what some of these concepts give us that we've already talked about. Now this is about halfway between here and here, which means I'm going to go over here and guesstimate halfway between there and there. And if this is half and that's half, again, that'll be the right angle going to the distant vanishing point. So that's what diminishment guides are. They're not exact, but by using them, you'll get, you know, so close to, you know, pretty close that people will say, yep, that's exactly it. That's right. That's amazing, fantabulous, phantasmagorical. So again, we're going to have this, right? And we need to just say, all right, well, how are we going to double this in space? Well, we took from the middle to this point, and then we go from here through that point, and we're basically, now this is going to give, unfortunately, this is going to put me right next to the left measuring point, but So let me try that again. We're going to go from here, this corner, through this dot, till this goes up onto the horizon line. Now, this right here is another measuring point. It's only for doubling this back into space. So this little dot will be a measuring point. Now I could have just said, all right, well, I'll go here to where it touches there and drop that down. I could certainly do that, because where that hits the horizon line, that's my next 5 feet. Like so. And then we say, all right, we can come from here through where this passes through there, and then give me another 5 feet. And I can certainly do that. No big deal. And I think that's what I will do. We'll just go ahead and go from this corner through that point, where that hits, again, the horizon line, then that's in the way here. That's the third 5 feet. So we're going to say, all right, by doubling, this is 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet. So this right here is 15 feet. That's the 15-foot corner. So this goes 15 foot to the right and 15 feet, or pardon me, and 12 feet to the left. So this is 12 feet here. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, from here, since this goes to the left, it's from here to the left measuring point where it intersects this line going to the left. That right there is 12 feet. And this is the edge of the room going to the right. And we used the right measuring point. We measured off 5 feet, which was here, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right measuring point where that hit, that's 5 feet. Then we X'd corner to corner, corner to corner, and because we had a rectangle here. So from here up to the horizon line is a rectangle. X'd that off, found the midpoint, took the midpoint to the vanishing point, and where this hit the outside line, that's this line right here going up. That's a 5 foot line, 5 feet going back. We then took this until we went from here through that point till it hit the horizon line, dropped that. Now, it doesn't have to be on the horizon. I just used the horizon line because it was convenient. If I had like something going this way down, we'd have, you know, a different rectangle, but it still works. Then we still have this line going into the vanishing point where it hit this corner, because we took that corner up, that was 10. Doubled it over again, and this is 15. So we just used the doubling method to get 5, 10, and 15 feet. Okay? So what we'll do now is we're going to say, all right, well, this right here is going to be going, this is going to be the corner, so we have to go back to the left vanishing point. And what we're going to do is we need to see where this hits, again, through from this space, how much from here, and it's about 1/3. So I'm going to come over here where it's going off the page. I'm going to come to about 1/3. Again, this is about 1/3 to, we're looking for 1/3. Again, this is not perfect, but it will work for this, and it'll work pretty well. So we're now going to go this again from this is where this diminishment guideline goes. And this point right here, if I brought it straight over, it kind of cuts this by almost 1/3. That's 1/3. And we'll go ahead. And you don't have to worry about this, obviously. You don't have to use diminishments. You could just use your 15 feet if you've already got 15 feet located. But because I didn't, I have to do the heavier lifting. I've got to make this work. Okay. So this is going to go back this direction and out, traveling towards that distant left vanishing point. Okay, so this is now the corner of the room going that way. We would then come over here where this is 12 feet. And we could say, all right, let's go ahead and take this all the way to this right distant vanishing point. And again, if we took this 12-foot mark, this again is here. I'm just going to go ahead. I need to guesstimate how far up it is. So it's almost half. So we'll go ahead and put here again about half, and we'll take this I get to that far distant vanishing point. And that's how we're going to do this. We're just going to go ahead and again get this to go out to this long distant vanishing point going far off to the right. All right. And all we need, because we're doing all we need is we need the back corner. So this right here is the back corner of the room. All right. Now I also have that the room is going to be 8 feet tall. 8 feet tall, wow. Remember that this is just 12 feet back, so this still had to go to the distant vanishing point. This again had to go to the vanishing point. Remember, these are just for measurements. But what I'm going to do here at this point is I'm going to go ahead and put all these little points along here by using the left left measuring point, because this is going to the left vanishing point. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up. This is going to hit right about there. I'm going to go over here. This is going to go over right about there. Put this over there. Swing that up. So again, so we're going to go ahead and get this here, measuring point there. Go ahead and get this, put this up here. All right, whoops. So we're going to go ahead and get all these points. This is 1 foot. This is 1 foot. This is 1 foot right there. So again, we're going to start, putting these 1 foot increments. We're going to put the 1 foot increments on this line going to the left. So, and I'm going to do the same thing here, where again, this is going to the right, so we're going to use the right measuring point, and we're okay, where's 1 foot? That's 1. That's 2. This is 3. And again, so this we're going to go ahead and grid this room. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the rest of the points on here, just coming to that right measuring point. And that's how we're going to get this thing all laid out in perspective. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to come back once I've done that so we can take it to grid out the rest of the room. So be back in a few minutes. Take care. All right, so I got all the, we've taken all these. This is going to the left vanishing point. We took all these to the left measuring point, and we've got 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, all the way through 12 feet on this line going back in perspective. I also have 10 feet on this line going back into perspective. I'm going to have to do a little wizardry to do that. But I wanted to show you how we're going to get this 8 foot line since I moved the corner over. Well, all we're going to do is we're going to take, this is an 8 foot tall room, and so I'm going to take a line from this corner. Now, I hope that we understand with a 2-point perspective room, you can never see. Whoops, I'm making a real mess here. But we can never see the front and the back of the room. You're always going to be seeing. Let's get that. There we go. It's better. You're always going to be seeing just one corner. You can't see you can't see the whole thing, and especially with the way this is turned. You might be able to see, depending on how you're angled, you might be able to see 3 walls, but you can't see 4 walls. I mean, and even to see 3, you'd have to have this a completely different rotation, completely different angle to the room, and you'd have to have this wall and this wall torn out, kind of like you're in a movie studio. And I'd have to be over here with my camera, and I'd be able to see 1, 2, and 3 walls. But for the most part, usually we're going to be seeing 2 walls with most of your 2-point perspective shots. Now I'm going to bring this line straight up because this is the corner. So this is my corner starting on the ground line. It's 1 foot over. And remember, this is this little like spider web just touching the picture plane. So what I can do is I can bring this line straight up, and then I can, whoops, moved it again. There we go. I'm going to come over here to my 8 feet and bring my 8 feet over, so that now, where it touches the picture plane, is an 8 foot tall line. And again, this seems like this is so small because this is seen from a toddler's vantage point. I've got a 2.5 foot line. Yours is a 5 foot line, so you'll be seeing more of the grid. Mine will be seeing less because the person is closer to the ground, which means there's going to be more perspective going on with that grid. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this up. This is then 8 feet, okay? And maybe I need to darken that so we can actually see it. So let me go ahead and bring this. And I'm not going to darken it too dark because I don't want it to get in the way of all this other line work we're going to do. But I need to find this length at the back corner. Well, I've already got that this is the back corner because we took 15 feet, went to the left vanishing point, 12 feet, went to the right vanishing point, and this back here is my corner. Now, how do I find that length going back in space? We're using measuring points. This is using a reference measuring point for particular planes. So this plane and this plane is going to be on the same, this corner and this corner will line up, and I'm going to take this dot through the back corner dot until it intersects the picture plane. Now this is a reference point, and it's only for this plane, this 8 foot plane. So once we've got this reference point, vanishing point, I'm going to take the top of this at the top of the 8 feet right here, and I'll take that to that reference vanishing point. And by doing that, I'll get this out of the way so you can see it. By doing this, what we are then creating, and for these types of this is just a reference point for two. These are in line, going back to the horizon line, meeting at this vanishing point, and this is 8 feet, and that's the base of it. This is the top of it. It's going back, into space, and meeting at this vanishing point. What that means is that anything along this plane, and maybe I should do this in a color if I've got a color over here I can use. Alright, I should have brought my perspective pencils that are basically just Prismacolors, but I didn't. But all this means is that this right here, this plane, is 8 feet. So this is an 8 foot plane going way back into space. So that means if I take this corner and I connect it to the top of that plane, that will also be an 8 foot plane. So I'm going to take this corner here, I'm going to rise it up till it hits the top of this plane, and this is now 8 feet here and back in space, and this is 8 feet here, closer to me. Now, I'm actually going to be seeing this back wall. I'm going to act like I'm actually taking these two walls and peeling them back. So this will be my back corner. And now that this is my back corner, I can take that back corner back to the right and left vanishing point using my diminishment guidelines. Again, these are a little bit rough, but they work. So this is now going to the right to this far distant right vanishing point. Actually, that was wrong. Because this is getting smaller in space, and this is coming forward. So that's going back, this is coming forward, and that's completely wrong. Alright, so I got to make sure I don't get confused, because this corner should be taller than this one. This is definitely taller than this back here. So it needs to come forward. So I went to the right vanishing point, but that's wrong. What it needed to do is come over here from the left vanishing point. So it's going to be bigger as it comes forward. So we're going to take this through that point. I need it longer. Use this one. Go ahead and take this. Line that up with there. Try to get this out of the way so you can see it. But this is going to be coming from this left vanishing point. This left vanishing point through the corner, coming forward and getting larger. So go ahead and darken this a little bit so we can actually see the walls, shall we? This is 15 feet here. This is the back 15-foot wall. This is the top of 8 feet right there. That should then, I could, if I want to, I could even connect these two. This is 8 feet getting larger as it comes forward still, right? You know, this is getting bigger because it's coming closer to me. This thing also needs to get bigger as it comes forward. So what it's going to do is it's going to come from this point right here, from the vanishing point that I have to do as a diminishment guide. It'd be so much easier just to have everything defined, but whatever. So we're going to bring this again forward as it comes out, like so. This will then, and maybe this seems a little confusing right now because there's so many lines, but my main room right now, this is this corner, the height of 8 feet, getting bigger because this is further back. This is bigger, though further from me than this, so this is a little smaller. And again, we could connect all these up, and we'd end up with the outline of our 2-point perspective room. Now, luckily for you guys, you just have to go from your vanishing points. I'm using these reference points, and again, they're better than nothing, but they're not as highly accurate as vanishing points. So again, if I was doing this for a client or something, I'd actually have 2 other sheets of paper on either side of this with the actual vanishing points. But here's my box. Now, I'm going to really be worried about the corner, so I'm not going to go as nuts on what's going back here. But this is, again, this goes back to the corner. And again, when you folks with a 5-foot line, you're going to be seeing more of the floor because the person's taller. This is seen like a toddler. And if you're on a ladder, on a 6-foot ladder, you'd be seeing even more of the floor because you're even taller still. Or if you're like on a 2-foot step ladder, again, you'd be seeing more of the floor too because you'd be higher up. The higher up you are, the more you're going to see this long, this very deep room going back into space. So what I did is I took a line straight up the corner because this is where it touches the ground line. We brought this straight over till it hit there because that's 8 feet. We then went from here through the foot till it hit the horizon line, and then we took this 8 feet where it hit that corner and brought it to the horizon line for that measuring vanishing point. And that means that we had a plane here, and this entire plane is 8 feet going back to that vanishing point. So we made an 8-foot plane going back in infinity. We don't need to go back in infinity. It stops right here. So we brought this straight up till it met the top and bottom of this line, and now this is an 8-foot high wall going back into space. And that's what's cool about this. We're gonna go ahead and work on the grid. To get the grid, again, I need these guys to come over here, and then we're gonna go to the vanishing point. So we're gonna go here to the vanishing point. So what we do is, again, we need the 1-foot marks on the corners. Now you might say, well, I'm not using it in the corners. Is there a way to get to the back? Well, the easiest way to get this to the back is to start off with the front. Now you can either do the front of the room or the back of the room. With this, we actually started with the front of the room, going back. So I kind of made my decision for myself, whether I like it or not, that this is the way this is going to work. Again, if I had been a little smarter about it, but again, we want you to at least have the experience of doing this. Again, we're going to go ahead and again push these over, shove these over because this is 7 feet on the front edge. So this is that front edge, or that plane of the front corner. When I say edge, I'm at the front corner. So these are all 1-foot increments on this front corner. What is going on there? That thing looks like it's not straight. So let's go ahead and straighten this up. So this is how we're going to deal with this corner. Again, we're going to put these 1-foot increments on here. This is 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, and 1 foot. And then what we have to is to get the lines going this way, they're going to go to the left vanishing point. And then to get the lines going this way, they're going to go to the right vanishing point. All right. So I'm going to set that up where I'm going to take the lines this way will go to the right, the lines going this way will go to the left. once they hit here, they're going to change the corner and they're going to go to the opposite vanishing point. So this will go down to the left till it hits here, and then it's going to turn and go to the right vanishing point till it hits the back corner, and then it's going to come from the left and come back again. We're going to go ahead and set this up. We'll go from there in a few minutes. We'll be back. All right, so we're back. So what I went ahead and did was I had this front edge, and I took and I brought over the 1 foot increments, and then I took those increments back to the vanishing point, and those slammed these. We then found these are now our 1 foot increments back in space from this corner going back away from us, right? And I kind of tried to erase this wall. There's a lot of it sort of left. And normally, you know, if I was going to do this, this would be my the sheet where you do all your mistakes, because we can see that again I had to fiddle with the grid a little bit. Usually I do this on tracing paper or something like that. But so this would go, you know, this goes again over here. Again, so this is our corner again, and I erased away the front corner, but we still had these points that we used from, this is going to the left, used the left measuring point to mark off the 1 foot increments. I then used the right measuring point to mark off these increments, again going to the right vanishing point, right, and this is our corner. Kind of blew the corner out there as I passed it just a little bit, so I could go ahead and grab this and try to erase a little bit of that. But I also took this corner with the 1 foot increments and took them back to the right vanishing point, and that gave me these. Again, these are my 1 foot increments going back into space, because I went from this corner 1 foot, went back to the vanishing point till it slammed into this corner right here. And those give me my 1 foot increments. Then I took these and took them back to the left, took these, took them back to the right, took these 1 foot increments going this way, the 15, they went to the left, these 12, because it's a 12 by 15 room, so this is, you know, 15 deep and 12, 12 deep and 15 wide. This is the width, this is the depth. So this goes back 15, and it comes over 12. So I took these 12, took them back to the right vanishing point, took those back to the left, and where they cross, this is our, you know, this would be a 1 foot tile, and this would also be a 1 foot tile, and so forth and so on. And so again, now we have this room that's 12 feet. Now, this right here is a little skittywampus. This should be actually over here a little bit, and so I'd want to, you know, get in there and get that cleaned up. It got just so muddy that I tried to clean it up with by going erasing the lines, but going over with ink so they'd stay as I tried to erase some of this off. Now up here we have, again, they're very light, but these are the tiles of the ceiling. We've tiled the walls that we can see, which are the right and the left, and we've done the floor. And we can't see much of this floor. These squares get very, very squished and in perspective very, very quickly, because again, this is seen from, you know, like a 2.5-year-old or maybe even a 2-year-old's point of view. They see more of the height. The world looks a lot different when we're younger. And if I was doing an illustration or if I was doing a drawing, you know, with a child, I'd want that, and I want to feel like it's the child's point of view. You'd put an eye line. Again, this was a 2.5 foot eye line. We had a 15 foot station point down here, 15 feet. We had 2.5 feet to the horizon line, all that good stuff. But if I wanted to do the grid on the ceiling, it'd be very easy. I already have 1 foot increments across this ceiling, 12 of them, going down and to the left, pardon me, not the left, but the right vanishing point. So these are going down to that left vanishing point. So we have our 12 feet. And all I'd have to do is I could create a diagonal from corner to corner. This is a quick way of doing it. So we go corner to corner, And again, every place that this crosses that line, that's then, again, our 1 foot increments. And that would be our, we'd end up with our 15 squares. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. Okay, I forgot about that. That's not going to work on this. And the reason it won't work is that because that takes this distance here and lays it on there. So it takes these 12 and lays it on here. Forgot about that, didn't I? So that can't work for this because it's not a square. It's actually a rectangle. So in that the case, now I could, if this was a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12 or 15 by 15, 20 by 20, that would work. Because what it does is it takes this and these 12 and divides this into 12. But this is 15 feet. So what we'd have to do instead is we take and we bring these 15 feet increments up straight, and we start marking those off. And then you would take those down to the vanishing point to make your grid on your ceiling. So I just go ahead, bring these down here, bring them straight up, put them on here. And then, you know, we got some little ones here at the back I was using to check where the grid got a little wonky. But you would then take those down into the left vanishing point, and those would give you your squares. Now, let's point out a couple things. These here are going very rectangular. And the reason that they're starting to stretch and open up, and the reason they're starting to get, you know, a little bit more rectangular, especially, you know, these guys, we can see it, you know, down here and things, is because it's a little bit out of the cone of vision. Again, that cone of vision would be 90 degrees, so it'd be somewhere up here and then somewhere, you know, so right around here would sort of be the cone of vision, and this is outside of it, so they begin to stretch. These right here will start to look a little bit better. But this is how to grid the room, and what I want you guys to do is I want you to go to your own house. Unlike the other one where you had my little, you know, the little top view that had all the different little chairs and stuff. Go ahead and go to your own house and see if you can find a room, or maybe you don't care about your own. Maybe you want to make this up entirely from your imagination. But start to place windows. Start to try to place, you know, try to get this gridded out all the way. Place a chandelier in the middle of the room, or something like that. Or maybe it's a recessed light, or, you know, put a 5-foot couch, or maybe it's a 6-foot bed, and, you know, maybe it's a California king or queen. Maybe it's a, you know, somebody's. Maybe it's a bedroom, maybe it's a living room, maybe it's a kitchen. Try to design this using the grids. So now we go, okay, well, say it was a cabinet. Well, the cabinet is 2 feet deep, and then it's 3 feet up, and it's, you know, it's against this wall, so it'd be 2 feet over here and 2 feet over there, and, you know, you could start to, I could build this out into a nice kitchen. So again, the grid. First thing we had to do was get the station point, center of vision, horizon line, ground line. We did our increment of measure, which was 1 inch equals a foot. I kind of didn't think enough about this because I want this bigger, so I ended up with a 2.5 foot eye line, but that's all right. It could be 1 foot, it could be 6 inches. It's just that the perspective will change depending on how tall is the eye line. So then we went ahead and we took from the station point down here, and we went ahead and used one of my triangles. You know, so we'll just a makeshift little triangle, like so. But we went down in 90 degrees. That then we brought the vanishing points up onto the horizon line. This was our horizon line. It kind of got blown out over here, but this was it. And so we brought those up to the horizon line. There was some craziness because my vanishing points were off the page, so I had some diminishment guidelines. So I did do that. So that was a little bit of craziness. But then we rotated the length from the station point to the left measuring, or the left vanishing point. We rotated that up. So again, this was the distance from the vanishing point to the station point, and so it's out here. But we rotated that up onto the horizon line to give us the left measuring point. We then took it from this right, which is over here, you know, off the page, but we rotated it from the station point, rotated that up, and we got to the right measuring point. Again, these are rotating up to the same distance. The left measuring point and the right measuring point are equidistant pardon me, the right is the same distance from the right vanishing point to the station point. So from the right vanishing point off here, this distance, and it's off the page a little bit, but this distance here is the same as from here down to the station point. Again, this is off the page, but let's pretend I was pointing at it. This one here, the measuring point off the page a little bit, this distance to the station point down here is the same, and that's why we can use it as a measuring point. We then put our increments on the ground line. We put our increments on the center of vision. And then I started this, I started this 1 foot off for the corner over here. And again, we went ahead and we made 12 feet this way, 15 feet this way. This was going to the right, so we used the right measuring point. This one here was going to the left, so we used the left measuring point, 12 feet to the left measuring point. We then scooted this over onto our new corner line, and then took from the corner line to the back, because we had that cross where you took this over to the right vanishing point, and this over to the left vanishing point, this to the right. We got that back corner, and we wanted to make sure that it was 8 feet tall. So we took this, which was our front corner, through the back corner right there, up onto the horizon line and made a reference point. We then took the top of that same vanishing reference point, and then we just took this up till it hit that plane going to that reference point. And then we had this line that was 8 feet. And then all we did was we took our 1 foot increments, took them to the left, took our 1 foot increments, took them to the right. We went ahead and marked off all our increments here, all our increments here. And these were just for measuring. When we take it to the measuring point, it's just for that measurement. It's not the angle. So once we got those increments going back in space, then we took this side and took it to the right, took all the increments on this, took it to the left, and we made this little tile right here on the floor. So this is what you want to do. You want to try to get everything gridded, even grid the ceiling, and then you can start placing stuff in here. Again, I would do it with a 4H pencil, and certainly, not like what I did. And be a little bit more careful. I was being a little flippant. I got a little out of control from me. I actually had to go and to save me time, I actually marked the vanishing points to make it easier. But go ahead and grid your room and then place stuff in it. And I can't wait to see them. So what I want you to do this week is try to finish the grid. Get everything gridded out. And then next week we'll have you place stuff. So you take care. This has again been a 2-point perspective gridded room using a left measuring point and a right measuring point, the station point down here, off the page, so it's way down here. And then we have the right, the left measuring point way out here, the right measuring point way out here, But we gridded a room using, again, the ground line for our increments, the center vision with our increments. Try this. It's kind of fun, and then it's kind of like Sudoku, but visually, and then you start placing stuff in the room. This has been Kevin McCain with Idaho Art Classes. Take care. See you later. Be creative. Bye-bye.